Hello. Hello people, what's up, what's up, what's up? I hope you all are doing super amazing, guys. People, I hope your weekend was super amazing. Okay. My dear CMA Final Law students, until now, let's quickly understand what we have studied till now. Let's understand and revise quickly whatever we have studied till now. Okay, people. We are in the chapter of SEBI regulations. We are in the chapter of SEBI regulations. In SEBI regulations, we are studying how to raise finance from capital markets. How to raise finance from capital market, that is IPO. Cool, people. Now, in this chapter, we are supposed to study how many topics, people? We are supposed to study 9 topics. In this sub-chapter, we are supposed to study how many topics? 9 topics we are supposed to study. Okay, cool. We had begun this chapter with the meaning of IPO. We had begun this chapter with understanding the meaning of initial public offer. Cool. Then we understood, people. Then we understood who are the key players in an IPO. Then we understood who are the key players in an IPO. Over here, we understood the meaning of issuer. We understood the meaning of NSE, BSE. We understood the meaning of NSDL and CDSL, and then we understood the meaning of investors like you and me. Cool. After that, we understood who are the intermediaries. Who are the intermediaries in this process? Who are the intermediaries in this process? Now, what is the meaning of intermediaries, people? Intermediaries are the ones who help the key players in an IPO process. Intermediaries are the ones who help the key players in an IPO process. Very easy. After that, people, we understood eligibility of an issuer. After that, we understood eligibility of an issuer. In eligibility of issuer, people, we understood there are 2 circles. How many circles? There are 2 circles. Right, people? First circle is, when can an issuer even think about an IPO? When can an issuer or any company that is going for an IPO, when can it first think about an IPO? That is your CMA foundation. After that, after these 10 conditions are complied, people, after these 10 conditions are followed, then only the company can think about the eligibility conditions for an IPO. Then only the company can think about the eligibility conditions for an IPO. Very easy. Now, if we talk about the 10 conditions, people, if we talk about 10 conditions, here 10 conditions. He should not be debarred by SEBI. He should not be a willful defaulter. And then 3, very easy. No partly paid up shares, stock exchange approval, agreement with depository. And then, people, promoters holding should be in demat form. Then agreement with depository is done. Then limit on general corporate purpose. You understand? 3 difficult. Okay. 3 difficult. Among these 3 difficult, one was very easy. That is, minimum 90% subscription was needed. Second is, people, maximum limit on general corporate purpose cannot exceed 25%. Maximum limit on general corporate purpose cannot exceed 25%. After that, people, we understood the company, the issuer, should make firm arrangements for 75% of funds. The issuer shall make firm commitment for 75% of funds. Now, this 75% of funds of what, people? 75% of project finance, excluding IPO proceeds, because IPO proceeds, you should not be dependent on IPO. And savings, people, we already have that savings, that is 100% guarantee. Apart from that, what is that source of finance remaining? That is loan. Okay. 75% of project finance, excluding IPO proceeds, excluding internal accruals, 75% of that amount should have firm backup, should be firm backup. Okay, people, till here we understood, people. After that, we understood the conditions for an IPO. We understood the conditions for an IPO. There are 4 conditions. Number 1 is eligibility condition. Number 1 is net tangible assets should be at least minimum 3 crores in each preceding 3 financial year. Net tangible assets should be minimum 3 crores in each of the 3 preceding financial year. Among these net tangible assets, people, less than 50% should be held in monetary form. If at all more than 50% is held in monetary form, we require a proper project report about how are you going to utilize this money, right? Now this 50% condition is not applicable when IPO is made through offer for sale. Offer for sale means what, people? No new shares are created, only existing shares are offered to the public. Very easy. Then people, number 2 condition is minimum pre-tax average operating profit should be 15 crore in preceding 3 out of any of the 3 preceding financial year out of 5 preceding financial year. Now what is the meaning of minimum pre-tax average operating profit, people? You have to pick last 3 financial years minimum. We have to pick last 5 financial years pre-tax operating profit. Pre-tax operating profit. What is the meaning of pre-tax operating profit? Income earned from the core business activities where you have not deducted taxes, where you have not deducted interest, where you have not deducted dividend. That is called as pre-tax operating profit. Now you have to find out the last 5 pre-tax operating profit. Then you have to pick any of the 3 most profitable years, and then you have to take an average. The average is at least 15 crore. The company has complied with the second condition. Number 3 is, people, net worth. Net worth should be at least 1 crore in each of the 3 preceding financial year. Cool. Number 4 is, people, name change. What is this condition says is that if the company has changed its name in the last 12 months, the company has changed its name in the last 12 months, the total revenue, 50% of the total revenue should be earned from the new name. 50% of total revenue earned in the last 12 months should be from the new name. Cool, people. Now, people, in the end, we understood that if the company, even if it does not follows all the 4 conditions, if it is a potential company, if it is a really very, very good company, still it can go for an IPO when if 75% of IPO proceeds have been subscribed by big players like insurance company, mutual funds, portfolio financial company, banks. If 75% of IPO proceeds have been subscribed by the QIBs, plus one more condition is that, people, the price should be discovered using book building mechanism. Now, what is the meaning of book building mechanism, people? Book building mechanism is a method of price discovery where all your shares are allotted but not at a fixed price, at maximum price. This is called as book building mechanism. Till here, people, we understood. Till here we understood. Now, one more thing understood was, people, if the company does not even comply the second condition, alternate route, then it has to refund all the subscription money that it has received from the investors back within 15 clear days. Very easy. So now, people, let's talk about one more. 4 conditions are, people. 4 conditions are there. They are for the time when the company is during the IPO process. These conditions are to be complied when the company is in the process of IPO process. In the process of IPO. Okay, perfect. Let's understand this, people. One sec. Yes. So these are additional small, sweet, cute conditions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 conditions we are going to study, people. 5 conditions we are studying. Now, let's start with the most easiest condition among these. Most easy condition, people. IPO must have at least 1000 LOTs. IPO should have at least 1000 LOTs, which means what, people? Minimum subscribers in an IPO should be at least 1000, then only IPO can proceed forward. This is very easy, people. Very easy. Next, IPO of convertible debt instrument. IPO of convertible debt instrument. Let's understand this. A company may issue convertible debt instruments through an IPO without having issued equity shares earlier. People, we know that. What is the meaning of IPO? IPO means initial public offer. What is the meaning of initial public offer? Initial public offer is offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. Offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. We know this. This is the meaning of IPO. Now, what is this rule is saying is that company can issue convertible debt instruments. What is the meaning of convertible debt instruments? Let's understand this in detail, people. Lens card. This is bank. Let's name this bank as, people, HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank has given a loan to Lenskart. Loan to Lenskart for, let's say, 1 lakh rupees loan HDFC Bank has given. HDFC Bank has given loan. How much worth, people? 1 lakh rupees note loan has been given to Lenskart. Now, in consideration, Lenskart says that we will give you 10,000 convertible debt instruments. Convertible debt instrument. Lenskart told in return that we will give you 10,000 convertible debt instruments. Convertible debt instruments. Now, what is the meaning of convertible debt instrument? Convertible debt instrument means when Lenskart receives debt instrument, Lenskart is when Lenskart receives convertible debt instrument, which means what? HDFC Bank can later convert these debt instruments into equity shares. HDFC Bank can later convert these debt instruments into equity shares. Let's say in this debt instrument, it is said that you can convert 1,000 equity shares at rupees. Okay, let's do this. 10,000 equity shares at rupees 10 each. At rupees 10 each. Tomorrow, if Lenskart defaults on loan repayment, people, tomorrow, if Lenskart default on loan repayment, HDFC Bank will not tell Lenskart that give us the money back. HDFC Bank will simply encash these debt instrument into 10,000 equity shares at rupees 10 each. 10,000 equity shares at rupees 10 each. Now, HDFC Bank will have shares worth how much, people? How much? 1 lakh rupees shares will be held by HDFC Bank. Will be held by HDFC Bank. This is the meaning of convertible debt instruments. Debt instrument convertible into equity shares is called as convertible debt instruments. Debt instruments convertible into equity shares is called as convertible debt instruments. Very simple way, very simple. Now, let's come back again to this rule. A company may issue convertible debt instruments through an IPO without having first issued equity shares earlier, provided it has not defaulted in the repayment of principal or interest in the last 6 months. Basically, people, Lenskart, before it even issues equity shares to the public, it can issue convertible debt instruments. What is the meaning of convertible debt instruments? Convertible debt instruments are debt instruments later convertible into equity shares, similar to convertible bonds, convertible debentures. These are all convertible debt instruments. Lenskart can issue convertible debt instruments in an IPO without first issuing equity shares. This is the meaning of convertible debt instruments. But there is a condition. What is the condition, people? Lenskart should not have defaulted in the repayment of even principal or interest in the last 6 months. In the last 6 months. This is the next small condition. Okay. Now, third condition is that, no outstanding convertible securities. No outstanding convertible securities. An issuer must not have any outstanding convertible securities or any rights that would entitle holders to receive equity shares after the IPO. After the IPO. People, what this rule is saying is that before an IPO, let's take the previous example. Before the IPO of Lenskart has already given convertible debt instruments to HDFC Bank. Lenskart has already given convertible debt instruments to HDFC Bank. Right, people? Which means what? HDFC Bank can encash these convertible debt instruments into equity shares of rupees 10 each or rupees 10 each. Which means what? HDFC Bank has the power to get 10,000 equity shares of Lenskart. 10,000 equity shares of Lenskart. Now, people, this is IPO process. This is IPO. Lenskart is issuing 1 lakh equity shares. Lenskart is issuing 1 lakh equity shares to the public. Okay. Now let's say, people, the price is price after the IPO is rupees 100. Price is rupees 100. Number of shares held with the public is 1 lakh shares. 1 lakh shares. People, listen to me very, very carefully. This is very, very amazing concept. Very, very amazing concept. So we know that Lenskart on a clean slate is issuing 1 lakh equity shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. Okay, people. Now, after the IPO, the price has been fixed to 100 rupees per share, and number of shares we held with the public is, people, how much? 1 lakh shares are held with the public. Till here, we have no problem. Now, what this rule is saying is that, before Lenskart goes for an IPO, it should ensure that there are no convertible outstanding debt securities. Why? I will tell you. Tomorrow, if HDFC Bank has already issued debt instruments to HDFC Bank, how much, people? 1 lakh debt instruments. Okay. No, not 1 lakh, it is 10,000. Sorry. It is 10,000. Right, people? Let's assume for a second that Lenskart has already issued convertible debt securities to HDFC Bank, which has not yet converted into equity shares. Now, Lenskart is going for an IPO where it is issuing 1 lakh equity shares, and after the IPO process is done, the price in the stock exchange is 100 rupees per share. Total number of shares is 1 lakh, people. Now, if HDFC Bank later converts the debt securities into equity shares, people, suddenly the shares, number of shares will become how much, people? Number of shares will become 10,000. So total number of shares is 1,10,000. Total number of shares becomes 1,10,000. If suddenly there is an increase in the number of shares in the market, don't you think the price will fall down? People? If the price falls down, people, don't you think investors will suffer a loss? That is the reason why, people, this rule is made, where Company can go for an IPO, no problem, but it should ensure that there are no outstanding convertible debt securities. If there is any outstanding convertible debt securities, first convert that into equity shares and then only you can proceed with an IPO. Then only you can proceed for an IPO. Suddenly, people, imagine you in the position of investors. You have subscribed 10,000 equity shares in an IPO, and suddenly the company which has received convertible debt securities, it has encashed into, it has converted into equity shares. Suddenly there is an increase in the supply of shares. If there is an increase in supply of shares, people, the price will fall down. Obviously the price will fall down, the investors will suffer a loss. To prevent such situation from happening, this rule has been made. To prevent such situation from happening, people, this rule has been made. Okay. Oh, crazy concept, right, people? Crazy concept. Where are we? Yes. Now let's read this again. An issuer must not have any outstanding convertible securities or any rights that would entitle the shareholders to receive equity shares after the IPO. After the IPO, whatever you want to do, you have to do it before the IPO. Whatever you want to do, you have to do it before the IPO. You ask them to convert that into equity shares, and then only we will go for an IPO. So that investors like you and me do not suffer unnecessary losses because of sudden increase in the supply of shares. Sudden increase in supply of shares. If the supply of shares will increase, the price will fall down. If the price will fall down, people like you and me will suffer a huge loss. That's it, people. That's it. That's why this rule has been made. Okay. Now, two simple conditions remaining. Interesting. Okay. If the IPO size exceeds 100 crores, if the IPO size exceeds 100 crores, a bank or a PFI, public financial institution or private, okay, this is private financial institution, must monitor the utilization of proceeds and report quarterly until 95% of proceeds are utilized. People, if the IPO size is more than 100 crores, if the IPO size is more than 100 crores, people, that means there are a lot of public money involved in the IPO. There is a lot of public money involved in an IPO. Now, to make sure the company is utilizing the money in a wise manner, to make sure the company is utilizing the public's money in a wise manner, company has to appoint a bank or a private financial institution. For what purpose? Now, these people will report to SEBI. As to how is the company utilizing the money it has raised through an IPO. How is the company utilizing this money that it has raised through an IPO? Now, how is it going to do that? It is going to report on a quarterly basis. Until the period where the company has utilized 95% of the proceeds. Let's say the company has raised 100 crores from the public in an IPO. Let's say the company has raised 100 crores from the public in an IPO. Now the company has to appoint a bank like HDFC Bank. This HDFC Bank will now report to SEBI on a quarterly basis. After every 3 months, HDFC Bank will report to SEBI as to how are they utilizing this money. Let's say for 100 crores, Lenskart has raised 100 crores. 10 crores it has used to open 100 stores. 10 crores it has used to open 100 crores. 10 crores it has invested into AI tech. 10 crores it has invested into AI tech. So what all expenditures have been made by Lenskart with the help of an IPO finance, HDFC Bank has to report to SEBI until and unless 95 crores have been utilized by Lenskart. Until 95 crores have been utilized by Lenskart, HDFC Bank has to report to SEBI after every 3 months as to how is Lenskart utilizing this money in an IPO. How is Lenskart utilizing this money in an IPO? Very easy, people, very easy. Again, let's read it. If the IPO size exceeds 100 crores, a bank or a private financial institution must monitor the utilization of proceeds and report quarterly until 95% of the proceeds have been utilized. 95% of proceeds have been utilized. Very easy, people. Very easy. Now, last is, people, it is more interesting. Last condition is very, very interesting. IPO grading. IPO grading. Now, people, tell me one thing. Let's say, what? Zebronics. Let's say a company like Zebronics. Let's say a company like Zebronics is going for an IPO. Let's say the company called Zebronics is going for an IPO. Now you have never ever heard about a company called as Zebronics. You have never ever heard about the company called as Zebronics. Now, if that company is going for an IPO, why would you invest in that company, people? Why would you invest in a company? The answer is you will never invest in a company because you have never even heard about the company. So why would you even invest in that company in IPO, right? So people, to prevent such things from happening, a company like Zebronics will appoint credit rating agency. A company like Zebronics will appoint credit rating agency. Now, what are credit rating agency? They are responsible for people, for example, if they have got access to all the financial information about you, me, every single person on earth. Credit rating agencies have got all the financial information about every single individual. Okay, so if HDFC Bank wants to give you a loan, they will first ask credit rating agency that can I even give loan to this person or not. Okay, now that agency will now check, have you ever defaulted in repayment of loan? Have you ever defaulted in the repayment of principal or interest ever? Now every single detail is accessible with credit rating agency. So these are very, very big players like banks. Okay, people. Now these people will now, a company like Zebronics, which is going for an IPO, Zebronics will appoint credit rating agency, independent SEBI registered credit rating agency. For what purpose? Now these agencies will now analyze your IPO details. These agencies will analyze your IPO details. Supposing Lenskart is raising 100 crores in an IPO, these people will analyze that what is the market demand, what is the supply, what is the trend going on in the market. Is it really feasible to open 10 stores? Is whatever you are doing with the IPO process, will it be successful or will it be unsuccessful? What is the possibility that it's going to be successful? What is the possibility that it's going to be a failure? Every single thing in detailed analyze. It is analyzed by the people credit rating agency, and then people, they will give you a score from 1 to 5. They will give you a score from 1 to 5 based on every single detail as to how are you going to utilize the proceeds about the IPO, where will you invest it, where will you keep it, is it really feasible? Every single thing will be taken care by credit rating agency, and then after analyzing everything, they will give you a score. If your score is 5, people, if your score is 5, that means that IPO is going to be super amazing. It is advisable for the investor to invest in that IPO. Even if that investor does not even never even heard about the company's name, still it is good for the investor to invest in that IPO. Still, it is good for the investor to invest in that IPO. Why? Because CRA have analyzed in detail about this IPO and they have given you 5 star. But if the rating is, people, 1 star, the rating is 1 star, that means the money that you are going to raise through an IPO is going to be a failure. That means you are not going to invest in a wise manner. You are going to invest it as per your whims and fancies. It's going to be a blunder. Now people, now tell me, if you are an investor, you have never even heard about the company called as Zebronics, and CRA but have given a score of 5. They have given a grade for Zebronics that given a score of 5 in an IPO. Now people, don't you think you will now invest in that company? Why? Because CRA have in detailed analyzed the IPO. Very easy, people. Now this is how CRA works. These are how CRA works, people. Cool. So people, today we understood 5 conditions. That then we are done with the eligibility conditions for an IPO. Then we are done with the eligibility conditions for an IPO. Let's quickly revise whatever we have studied till now. Okay. Now, first condition is people, IPO of convertible debt instruments. Company, without first issuing equity shares to the public in an IPO, still they can issue convertible debt instruments. Still they can issue convertible debt instruments. Okay, provided they have not defaulted in the repayment of principal or interest in the last 6 months. In the last 6 months, very easy people. Number one is very easy. Now, if you are talking about convertible debt instrument, there is another rule that says that there should not be any outstanding convertible securities. There should not be any outstanding convertible securities. Why people? After the IPO, if the people who have been issued convertible debt securities, if they convert into equity shares, suddenly the supply of shares will increase and the price will fall down. Investors will suffer a loss, which should not happen. That is the reason why people, the second rule has been made. The third rule is people, very easy. Minimum number of allottees should be 1000. Minimum number of allottees should be 1000. And the last is people, last second is people, monitoring of proceeds, which means what? If the company has raised more than 100 crores in an IPO, it has to appoint a bank or a private financial institution to monitor the proceeds as to how are they going to utilize the money. Until and unless 95% of the proceeds have been utilized, the bank or a private financial institution have to report to SEBI on a quarterly basis. What is the meaning of quarterly basis, people? After every 3 months, it has to report to SEBI as to how is Lenskart utilized the money it has raised through an IPO till now. Very easy. Now, last is IPO grading. IPO grading is like a report card of an IPO. IPO grading is like a report card of an IPO. Supposing investors like you and me have never even heard about the company called as Zebronics. Now, why would you invest in that company? Now, to make you invest in that company, what will I do is, I will obtain a report from a third party SEBI registered intermediary that is called as CRA, credit rating agency. Now, these people are not my people. They are independent like auditors. Now, they will analyze in detail about how am I going to utilize the money in an IPO. Then they will, based on that, they will give me a score out of from 1 to 5. The score is 5 people. That means the money that I'm going to utilize in an IPO, it is a very, very good way. If the score is 1 people, that means the IPO is going to be a blunder. So based on these scores, even if people who have not even heard about the company called as Zebronics, they will invest in the company very easily, people, very easily, without any anxiety. They will invest in that company. Very simple. Now, people, let's draw the mind map. Tomorrow, people, we will be done with the SEBI regulations. Day after tomorrow, people, we are going to do a thorough revision of the entire chapter in one lecture. Day after tomorrow, we are going to do a thorough revision of the entire chapter in one lecture. Then, people, we will be solving module questions. After that, we will be solving test series. And after test series, people, you are supposed to give us the paper, your answer. You have to answer the questions. You have to scan your pages. You have to send it back to us. We will give you feedback. And based on that feedback, people, we are going to solve past year's question paper. And then, people, we are done with the SEBI regulations. This is the format that we are going to follow for every single chapter. Okay. Okay. Other conditions. One second, people, let me check which is the point. Fourth, other conditions. The easiest one that we have read is minimum number of allottees. Minimum number of allottees. Very easy. Then we understood. Let me draw a proper arrow, people. Let's be professional. Okay. Convertible debt instruments. What are the people? They are like bonds, debentures, any type of loan that is convertible into equity shares. Very easy, people. Now, people, what is the difference between debt instruments and equity shares? In debt instrument, people, you are not the owner of the company. In debt instruments, you only receive interest. You do not receive dividend. You are never the owner of the company. But in case of equity shares, even if you have purchased one equity share of a company, that means you are a part of you own a part of the company. Even if you hold one equity shares, you still own a part of that company. Based on your number of shares, you will receive dividend. Based on the number of shares, you will dividend. What am I saying? Based on the number of equity share people, you will receive dividend. Okay, now let's understand what is this point trying to tell us. Company can issue convertible debt instruments without first issuing shares, provided there is a condition. What is the condition, people? Company must not have defaulted on payments, whether it is principal or whether it is interest, in the last 6 months. Very easy, people. Now, one more condition is that there should not be any outstanding convertible debt securities. The rule says you cannot go for an IPO if there is outstanding warrants, convertible debentures, bonds, or any rights people, one sec. Any rights that entitles someone to receive equity shares post IPO. Okay, very simple. So till now we understood 3 conditions. Now let's move on to the next. IPO grading. It is like a report card. It is like a report card from at least one or more CRA. CRA means what, people? Credit rating agencies. What purpose? For assessing the quality of IPO. Why is it made? So investors can make informed, means what, people? Correct decisions. Can make correct decisions. Let's say, people, let's say Lenskart is going for an IPO, and even though Lenskart is a very, very famous company, CRA has given a report IPO grading as 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5, which means what? There is a possibility that Lenskart is going to utilize this money in a wrong manner. Lenskart is going to utilize this money, is going to invest in the company in the wrong direction. That is why, people, CRA has given a report of grading 1 out of 5. Then, people, if a report says 1 out of 5, that means investors should not invest in Lenskart. Very easy. Now, last condition, people, last condition is monitoring of proceeds. Monitoring of proceeds. If the IPO size exceeds 100 crores, people, the IPO size exceeds 100 crores, the company has to appoint a bank or a private financial institution. For what purpose? To monitor utilization of funds plus report quarterly to SEBI until 95 proceeds have been utilized. That's it, people. That's it. We are done with the eligibility conditions for an IPO. So, people, let's quickly revise in 10 minutes what is the eligibility conditions of an IPO. First of all, when can a company think about an IPO? 10 conditions. Let's talk about default plus. There are 2 conditions for default. 3 are very, very easy, logic, and 2 is with respect to demat, and 3 is little difficult. Now, what are 2 conditions with respect to default, people? Number 1 is company, issuer, promoter, director or a selling shareholder should not be debarred by SEBI from accessing the capital markets or be involved with the companies who have been debarred by SEBI from accessing the capital markets. Very easy. Number 2 is willful defaulter. Company should not have defaulted on loans, repayment of principal or interest intentionally, company, promoter, director, in the last 6 months. Okay, people, I think we should remove this last 6 months. Okay, don't. If the company is a willful defaulter, it is a very, very less chances that company can go for an IPO. Okay. Now, people, 3 is very easy. Stock exchange approval is required. Then what, people? Then the IPO issue period should be at least 3 to 10 days. Number 2. And number 3 is, people, company should not have any partly paid shares. If there are any partly paid shares, the shares should be forfeited or it should be fully paid up. Very easy. Now, next is, people, 2 with respect to demat form. 2 with respect to demat form. What is demat form? Agreement with depository, that is the bank which is going to in the end store the digital lockers. Number 1 is that. Number 2 is, people, promoters should hold shares in demat form. And 3 is little difficult, people. Now, easy difficult is, people, minimum subscription should be 90%, otherwise refund within 15 days. Now, little difficult is limit on general corporate purpose. Maximum money you can use for general corporate purposes, maximum it should not exceed 25%. And last is people, firm arrangements of 75% of funds excluding IPO proceeds and internal accruals. Very easy. This is done, people. Now next, 4 very important conditions where a company will think if it is eligible for an IPO or not. Once 10 conditions are complete, then a company will start to analyze if it is even eligible for an IPO or not. Number 1 is people, net tangible assets should be at least 3 crores in each of the 3 preceding financial year. Now, less than 50% of net tangible assets should be held in monetary form. If at all more than 50% is held in monetary form, it has to give a report to SEBI as to how are they going to utilize this money. Now, this 50% criteria is not applicable when the company is doing an IPO through offer for sale. Very easy. Number 2 is people, minimum pre-tax average operating profit should be 15 CR in preceding 3 out of 5 financial year based on restated means for people without any valuation errors or defect, and consolidated basis means for people it should also include subsidiary companies consolidated financial statements. Second is over. Third is people, net worth should be at least 1 CR in each of the 3 preceding financial year. Fourth is people, the company has changed its name in the last 12 months. At least 50% or more of the revenue should be earned from the new name. If at all company has not complied with any of the conditions, people, still it can go for an IPO provided 75% of the IPO have been subscribed by QIB, big players, plus price has been determined by book building mechanism. What is the meaning of book building mechanism? Book building mechanism means what, people? Allotting all the shares at maximum price is called as book building mechanism. Okay, till here we have done, people. Then if the company still has not complied with the condition, it has to refund the entire subsidiary money it has received from the public. After that, people, we understood the 5 other conditions. Number 1 is people, company should not have any outstanding convertible debt securities before it goes on an IPO. Why, people? Suddenly the ones who are holding convertible debt securities, if they convert them into equity shares, suddenly supply will increase, price will fall down, it will be a loss for the investor, which is not allowed. Number 2 is people, company can issue convertible debt instruments even before issuing equity shares in an IPO, it is allowed. Okay. Now next is people, minimum number of allottees should be minimum 1000, otherwise the company cannot proceed with an IPO. And after that, people, IPO grading, it's a report card from 1 or more CRA, where CRA gives a report, a scorecard to the quality of an IPO so that investors can make informed decisions. This is done. And next is people, last is, if the company has raised more than 100 crores, which is a very huge amount it has raised from the public, it should appoint a bank or a private financial institution in monitoring the proceeds and report to SEBI on quarterly basis. Quarterly basis means what, people? Every 3 months it has to report to SEBI as to how are they utilizing this money until and unless 95% of the money has been utilized. Till here, people, we are done. We are done with the heart of the chapter, people. Tomorrow, we're going to complete with the promoter's contribution. Beautiful concept. Then people will understand how are the shares allocated in IPO. And then people, this is also done. 8th is also done. And last, people, pricing of shares. That's it, people. 3 topics. Very easy topic. 1 is difficult. But don't worry, people. I am there with you. You don't have to worry at all. Tomorrow, we will be done with the SEBI regulations. And then, people, we will be getting easily 10 marks for sure. Okay, people, if you have got any doubt, immediately drop all your doubts in the YouTube comment section. If you did not understand the logic behind any of the rule, people, please feel free to solve all your doubts in the YouTube comment section. Within 12 hours, I will resolve all your doubts in the best way possible. Right, people? So thank you so much for watching, people. Eat well, sleep well, study well. Take care. I will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock sharp.